You are listening to a One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast that tells the stories of craft beer in Minnesota and beyond. So kick back, relax, and grab a cold one. The show starts now. Hello, my name is Dan Bobian, and I write, produce, and host a One Pint Stand. I am ecstatic that you are listening. This podcast has been a passion project of mine since 2016. This episode that you're about to hear is all about the brewers behind the beers at Doña Cervecería in Minneapolis. I sat down with the head brewer and part owner Dicky and the assistant brewer Britt for a great conversation at one of my favorite places in the Twin Cities to drink a beer. If you haven't been to Doña, it is a really marvelous place, and one thing that they have been able to accomplish that not everybody else is able to do is they have created a wonderfully vibrant beer community within their four walls. So if you've been there, you know of the specialness that I speak, and if you have not been there, I encourage you to put that on your list and go enjoy the wide variety of styles and flavors that they are serving. What you will also find is just a wonderful, caring staff who is there to take care of you, and patronage that is very excited about beer. You can also pop in and catch a soccer game. There are salsa nights on Saturday. There's a variety of things to do. And it all kind of is centered around a very Latino vibe, and I love it. So our conversation, we talk about their beers. We talk about their paths into the industry and how does one maintain a work-life balance when they are a head brewer in the craft beer industry. Dicky has been an industry veteran for many years, and by contrast, Britt has been in the industry for 6 months. So their perspectives are important ones to hear, and I absolutely loved listening to them tell their stories. So let's head out to Doña for my beer chat with Dicky and Britt. Cheers. Welcome to another on-location episode of a One Pint Stand. My name is Dan Bobian. I'm your host, and I am here at Doña Cervecería in North Minneapolis amongst the colorful, amazing, wonderful community that is this tap room, and I am lucky enough to be joined by Dicky, the head brewer, and Britt, the assistant brewer. Thank you so much for sitting down with me to talk beer. I love this place, and I know how busy you all are, so I appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Dicky, the head brewer, part owner here at Doña, and this is Britt.
Yeah, I'm Brittany. I go by Britt to people who know me or pretend to. Yeah, I'm the assistant brewer here. I've been here for about 6-ish months, something like that, maybe a little under.
Yeah.
Kind of fresh to the scene, the brew scene, and I'm really excited to be here. And thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. I have been here many times. It's one of those places I love to visit in the warm months or in the cold months because, as the temperature dips, the options with the warming ABV go up, and last night I was lucky enough to run into the Enmolada Mole Stout, which I absolutely love. So, but my one rule when I come here is the first beer always has to be Doña Fria because it is so good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You brew good stuff here. So, and pardon the pun, you are also brewing up quite a wonderful community in the tap room. So,
I think so, yeah.
So I want to start. I'm curious to know. I always ask because I find it very fascinating. No two people have the same path into this industry. So, and even before you get a job brewing, there's a passion, an interest, a desire to figure out what does this beverage have in store. So, if each of you would. Start off, kind of tell me what got you interested in craft beer way back when?
I would say my interest was peaked when I got a job bar backing at Stub and Herbs in Stadium Village. which at that time was solely a craft beer bar, and I think one of the only ones in the state, maybe. The manager at the time was John Landers, phenomenal guy, taught me all about all the craft beer, and kind of laughed at me for only drinking Schell's Light, because at the time it was like, well, you have all these weird things on, like Schell's Light, like, seems fine. I don't know.
It's a known entity. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's made in Minnesota, so why not?
Yeah.
And then I asked him why he didn't have, like, hams on, and he kind of laughed at me, like, well, hams isn't made in Minnesota. It's made, wherever the contract was at that point in time. But he taught me all the stuff I knew, and from there, it just kind of, like, sparked my interest in, like, Two Hearted, IPA, and then Surly, too, at the time. Like, Furious was phenomenal. I really dug their coffee bender.
I missed that beer.
What?
I said I missed that beer.
Yeah. R.I.P., right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just learning all the ins and outs from him, and then just working, like, some random Thursday during the day, actually. And the Surly driver came and was making deliveries, and this was right before, I believe, TCF Bank Stadium.
Okay.
So they were kind of like loading up with kegs, getting ready for some games. And so I just kind of helped him out. Like, he'd bring him down the stairs, I'd throw him in the cooler, and the cooler was all of, 4.5 feet tall, like they normally are.
Yeah.
Trying to double stack kegs in there. And he was like, we're hiring for a driver, and we offer health insurance. And so I was like, you had me at health insurance. Like,
right.
I'm done. Yeah. And I did a ride along, and that's how I got in at Surly back in the day.
Okay.
So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anytime anyone asks me, like, how you got into it, it's always like, I needed health insurance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's a very important thing to have. You know?
Exactly.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Right. Britt, how about you? What got you? What piqued your interest about craft beer?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is, like, exposure to beer. My first beer, I won't tell you how old I was, but I was at a family barbecue. It was a Stella. And ever since then, I considered myself a beer drinker. Then moved out to Boston, kind of explored out there for a little bit, did some Sam Adams stuff. There's a small little craft brewery. It was small at the time. I don't know how big it is now, but I think it's called Turtle Swamp. It's in Jamaica Plain. Loved it. And just really got in deep there. I lived 4 blocks from the Sam Adams brewery, and their brewery tour was free, so I really got, like, my palate wetted there a lot for free. And, like, fresh out of college, I needed it to the 5-finger discount for sure. Came back here for pharmacy school. I'm a pharmacist by trade.
Oh, okay.
And did that and lived over in Como, pretty close to Insight. And I had Claw King, and that was kind of the end of it.
Okay.
Became an IPA girl.
Okay.
Still am to this day. Dicky's kind of swayed me a little in the stouts with Emilata.
Yeah.
But I still feel like I'm a hops girl.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's kind of the short version, at least.
Yeah, we all have our favorite, like, ingredients or flavors that we gravitate towards.
Oh, definitely.
How many years did either of you homebrew for a long while before you got into professional brewing?
Mine actually was all the way back when I was a kid. I didn't homebrew at all, but part of my grandparents' chores around the farm was making beer for all the farmhands.
Oh, okay.
And so
cool.
Just hanging out with them, they were kind of our babysitters as kids.
Yeah.
Before we started school and all, and it was just kind of like, started smelling some stuff around, this big pot on the stove, just swirling around, and I asked my grandma what she was doing, and she was making beer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up Morris, Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like?
Northwest.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right. My wife works at the U of M, and they have, she's in their barley breeding program, and they have a lot of fields up there.
Oh, yeah.
Crookston, Morris area. Yeah. Very cool.
A lot of fields.
Yeah.
A lot of agriculture out there, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Tons of it. Did you ever homebrew, Britt?
Yeah, that's kind of how I got into this. I started homebrewing during the pandemic.
Oh,
so
nice.
Pandemic hobby. So I'm 4 years deep into homebrewing now.
Okay.
Learned a ton just on my own, and having a science background, super helpful.
Oh, yeah.
All the math and everything comes a little bit easier to me. And at a point, I was in healthcare and I was just super unhappy and decided, you know what, forget it. Let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And that same week that I had decided to leave healthcare and, dig deeper into the brew stuff, Dicky posted on like the Brewing Change Collaborative Facebook group that he was looking for an assistant brewer. Felt like I wasn't qualified at all. But I was like, you know what? Why not? Just go for it. Sent him an email, came in the next day to interview. And it's history, I guess.
Yeah.
I will say I did include in on that post training included in to no experience necessary, right?
I didn't see that part.
Okay.
But yeah.
I think I put that in there.
I won't say that you didn't, but I also won't say that you did.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying because I got a lot of a variety of different people from different walks of life sending in their resumes. So
Yeah, well, I felt wildly unqualified, but now stumbling in and figuring things out. I'm super lucky to have a teacher like Dicky. I sing his praises to his face and behind his back. I feel super lucky to be trained by him, and it works well.
That's how many, I think one of the big things that I think it exists in many industries, the 2 to 4 years of experience needed. That's a pretty big gatekeeper for getting people who have a genuine interest and a passion for something, but aren't able to, get that experience without just being trained on the job. If you had to say a percentage of breweries that have that kind of like training available, no experience necessary, is that getting more common, or as far as are breweries still, no, you need a couple of years of experience before we'll even seriously consider you as a candidate for whatever job we may have?
I think it goes differently with different places, so everyone kind of has their own route that they want to take. In regards to when I started at Surly, there would have been no way with no experience to get a brewing job there whatsoever, but they were already a semi-well-oiled machine running under Todd.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like one of those things that, we're a smaller facility. It's basically just me for the most part in the back. So if I'm able to teach somebody and spend the extra time teaching somebody else how to do, 4 to 7 different things around in the back, and teach them, safety and chemical handling, hot water, stuff like that, what to touch, what not to touch, stuff, all that. It's very beneficial, and then it gives the opportunity for people who do want to get into the industry, maybe not necessarily pouring beer into the night, maybe more of like that morning kind of routine that they're used to, and then they have their evenings open still, and they get paid doing it, and it benefits myself. Like, that's great for me.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of other people, and I think that's why I posted Brewer's Assistant, because it's rather vague.
Yeah.
But it's allowing people to come in, and then when we sit down, they can ask, like, what do you mean by Brewer's Assistant versus, some places like, hiring shift brewer, like, that kind of speaks for itself.
Right.
Like, you're going to take over the helm at some point from the next person, and so on and so forth.
So Britt, you said that Dicky was a good teacher. Dicky, where does that come from? Along the way, I'm assuming that you had some pretty spectacular mentors. Was there I think, as an educator myself, I carry with me memories of good teachers I had and really bad teachers I had, and that
absolutely steers how I do my job, because I remember what it felt to be inspired and also what it felt like to be like not seen and not understood and almost seem like invisible in a class.
Yeah, right. I would completely agree. That's full well in most walks of life. You know, any chance somebody gets to get into a management position, even if they're still in the same company, they're striving for what not to be like with the person that they took over for.
Yeah.
And so, much like you were saying, you know, you remember the good and you remember the bad and you take from both. Because even though, like, at the time, you know, maybe when we were kids, like, I remember my science teacher, 7th grade, it'll stick with me forever. Like, he was hard on everybody. But looking back, it was like, no, he was pushing us, you know. It was that generational difference of, like, he just didn't fully convey that message.
Yeah.
And so it's, like, kind of taking from both, where it's like I really enjoyed, you know, this person I worked under. Not so much this person, but they had 2 or 3 things that I carry with me. And then from some of the other good ones that were really good, it was like, yeah, they were great, but, you know, part of the time, half the team was like slacking off, and that kind of felt bad too. So it's like, it's the give and take of like, you know, where do you draw your line? Mm-hmm. And I think, much to what you were saying again, is like, you're basing it solely on your experiences and trying not to be like fully one or the other, but a nice bond between the two, to then, you know, maintain what I want to see as quality in the bag.
Yeah.
So that's what I base it off of.
So you mentioned that, you know, Doña, when you're back in the brew house, it's the two of you. At Surly, I'm sure it was completely the opposite. How much interaction when you were at Surly did you have with the head brewer, or was it like, was Todd kind of mentoring everybody, or was it more like, all right, no, you report to this guy over here, and this person reports to her, and she reports to him, like a weird kind of a, you know, in those movies, those mafia movies, when they're like got everybody's picture on the wall, and there's like different, it's like almost like a pyramid scheme kind of.
Yeah, right.
Is it like that in the bigger breweries where like you may not even really interact much with the head brewer or master brewer, or is it pretty like, no, during the brew day it's kind of all hands on deck and it's very collegial?
I think it was a different type of scenario, because by the time I made it to the brew deck, it was quite apparent that the giant brewery that, you know, Surly was planning on building was like going up, and actually right around that time I was just about done on the packaging side and working towards the cellar. So with Surly, at least when I was there, it was shift brewers that, you know, basically 24/5 all week long, and then there was the packaging team, and then in between the two there was the centrifuge and cellar workers that would be there, and then outside of that it was warehouse. And so before that, when I first started there driving, it was a little bit more intimate. Sure. Just because I was the 12th person hired at Surly.
Okay.
So it was like me, 2 other drivers, there were 3 people packaging, and there were 2 brewers.
Yeah.
And then there was Todd and Omar. So like we all hung out like quite a bit, actually, at least for the most part.
Yeah.
There was one guy that didn't drink. He had worked for Omar's dad. Phenomenal guy, Dan. I don't know if he listens to podcasts, but Dan is awesome. He's the one that loaded the trucks every day.
Okay.
He's a great guy. And then there were a few other ones that just, you know, they'd go out on the weekend, but they weren't really like a weekday, like Thursday or, you know, the Grumpy's Mondays or whatever.
Okay.
But once I got to the brew deck, it was kind of like everyone has their roles. They started implementing more and more HR, marketing team. Gary actually like came around. Gary Nichols came around and like started doing more and more stuff with like QA QC. So it's kind of like everybody knew their positions. You got in, you said hi to who you could. You know, other people were kind of like on a mission. It was, just kind of like get in, got a long day ahead of me so that the next person, I don't leave them on a behind schedule.
Right.
Because the Friday person, whoever was on the brew deck cleaning everything, if you were behind like 5 minutes on Tuesday, like they'd be there an extra like hour or two on Friday. So just trying to make sure everything was running smoothly.
Like a relay kind of.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't want to pass the baton, not drop it, not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think when it comes to, you know, most of the time when I'm talking to brewers, our conversation is mostly on brewing, cleaning practices. I don't hear a lot about what makes a good trainer or what are the most important skills when training somebody. Obviously, attention to detail, like you said, touch this, don't touch this, all that stuff. From a standpoint of like, learning on seeing how a huge brewery operates, and then, is it kind of like the same process here, or is it easier because it's like, all right, it's just the two of us, so you're having more FaceTime and there's more chance for conversations, whereas like if you're coming in and, there's 40 other people milling around, how do you ask a question? I would imagine that might be intimidating because you don't want to feel like you're wasting anybody's time. You don't want somebody to drop the baton.
Yeah.
What do you think is for somebody who is like training somebody who's either relatively new in the industry or totally new to the industry? What's the biggest thing you would want them to understand about training somebody in?
Training somebody in, it's kind of like, I always refer to it as the email practice, where you sign off saying like, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know. And then you just don't hear anything back. And then something gets messed up along the way. And it's like, well, if you had a question, like I reviewed the email I sent you and 9 and 10 got mixed up. Like, if you had any questions about it, you could have called or emailed or whatever. So the constant reminding of like letting Britt or Sean, our sales and delivery person, know, just like, hey, like, you know where to find me.
Yeah.
You both have my cell number. Everybody's got a cell phone now. If I'm not here, text, call. If I don't pick up or if I don't respond to the text, like try the other one. Or if I am here, more than welcome.
Yeah.
I reiterating again, like, I would rather you come and ask me than something happen, and then now we have to start the whole thing over again.
Sure.
If you have a question about valves or what to do next or anything like that, come and grab me.
Yeah.
I would much rather be on the floor than responding to emails.
Right.
Or some emails, I should say.
And it's funny, that's been actually really tough for me. Like, that's the biggest transition, I think, from healthcare, like being a pharmacist, terminal degree. Like, I'm expected to be the expert at something, And so it's been humbling and really nice, a nice change of pace actually to come and like not know anything to some extent. And obviously I know things, right? Home brewing.
Yeah.
But commercial is not the same as home brewing. It's not just a giant version of your at-home system. It's just not. So I actually found myself, and constantly even still find myself having way more questions than I think I will. And sometimes I'm a little nervous to ask. And it's not because Dicky's not easy to ask. It's internal, and so I think a lot of being here and having such a great teacher is like constantly reminding myself, like, it's fine, just go ask.
Yeah.
You feel like it's silly, but silly is better than pressure, 10 psi pressure in your face, or yeast all over your hair, or or worst case, hot water everywhere, and then you're burned. It can get quite dangerous back there. So in the end, I keep trying to remind myself that it's worth it, but I face that every day, like being nervous to ask a question.
Well, and I'm sure it doesn't hurt that. I mean, I don't know much about what it takes to become a pharmacist, but I know you can't be dumb. So, being really intelligent and picking things up quick is probably like a huge benefit. Do you feel, and I think I'm curious to hear your answer, coming from a totally different industry, did you feel like once you got the job, did you feel like any imposter syndrome or just kind of like...
100%. I mean, I came into the interview because I feel like I am a confident person, generally. Yep. I know what I know, and I also know when I don't know something, and that's fine. But I try to really show people how confident I am. And so I remember coming into the interview and telling Dicky, give me 6 months, I'll be the best assistant brewer you've ever had. And so when I got the job, I was like, shit, I got to prove it. Also, can I swear here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I was like, I got to actually do this now.
Not regulated by the FCC, so
yeah.
Let it fly.
Like, oh, shoot,
and we're also talking about beers, so...
Yeah. True, it's a family podcast, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
But I was like, okay, now I actually have to show up, and trusting myself to do that has been huge. Part of it being I will earn more of Dicky's trust by actually asking, and that's been really empowering. And again, struggle with it still, but it's been huge to know. Every day he tells me, like, just ask. It's fine, just ask. And that's been super helpful too.
Yeah.
Just that reminder.
Well, that's one of the key points that we were talking about earlier. Because I reiterated, growing up, I'm not sure how you grew up, but going to my parents and asking for help with got my first car, trying to figure out how to oil change. My dad kind of showed me the first time, and then it's going to do it again, going to him hey, can you help me out? Okay. And then it's now I'm not going to ask.
Yeah.
Versus you had a couple questions today, and it's let's go check it out.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. This is the first one. Okay, not that. All right, let's go to this. Like we were just doing before we sat down with Dan.
Yeah, when I showed up today, I mean, usually you show up, 4 o'clock on a Friday at a brewery. It's pretty
Everybody's
lax.
already drinking.
Yeah, everybody's making sure those tap handles aren't stiffening up, and the flow pressure is great. But I went back and it looked like Dicky had a panel open on an electrical box, like he was trying to figure out where he left his car keys in there, and it was not a lax vibe. And so I'm glad we're here having a beer now, because that was a little tense. But yeah, I mean, that whole idea of keeping open communication is such a good thing, because I can't imagine. I mean, I'm a novice when it comes to brewing. I can't imagine how many things there are that could go wrong. And some of the things are like equipment, might not do what it's supposed to do, or a simple little addition of something at the wrong time, and that's super stressful for me. Just so I don't know how you all do it, but I think it's really awesome to hear how just good working relationship exists back there between the two of you. I don't think you can make good beer without that. So
no, not at all.
Yeah,
and that's part of the craft though too, is the person at hand and how they're handling the brew. So it's just kind of you're dealing with liquid. So going back to that Bruce Lee quote where he's you got to be fluid, move from one aspect to another. That's what we're doing back there. So
yeah,
it's hard to move around 15 barrels of liquid without the help of everything else. So you can only imagine what all the big breweries are dealing with their pumps.
Right. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about your thoughts, each of your thoughts on how welcoming the beer industry is to people of color looking looking to get into the industry, whether it's as a beer tender, cellar person, brewer, where are we at? Obviously, each of you have had different paths into it. I'm curious. I think you both have a really important perspective that I think people would love to hear about.
For sure, yeah. I mean, me getting into it, I've told Britt this like a couple times, like most of my relatives were just like, yeah, if somebody tells you you can't do it, go out and show them you can do it. So I've carried that through for most of my career, I guess. So when I got hired at Surly, it was a little bit different because now I'm friends with this kind of like motley crew of all kinds of different people. And they didn't even question the thought that, you know, I was half Mexican. It was just like, oh yeah, this is the big guy that can throw kegs around. Like, sounds like he can do the job. Like, there's nothing to worry about here.
Yeah.
And he can talk and hang out and whatever. And so, like, getting into it for me at that point, it was basically just like kind of a shoo-in. Like, it just worked out that way. You know, and then developed the conversation of like getting to know everybody, where my future would lie, considering Surly was on the trajectory of like signing with a distributor. So now I'm not throwing kegs around, where my future is with that, and then becoming friends with Todd actually, like more so over the years, and him actually telling me like, hey, like, you know, you can either be a salesperson or, you know, you can work through the ranks and get on the brew deck. You know, let me know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure everything out right now, and luckily I chose the route I did. And learning how to brew, how to package, how to maintain like a warehouse setting, how to transfer, filter, all that stuff. So fortunately enough for me, it was rather easy, considering at the time I was already in the industry. So
Sure.
all these other breweries popping up, you know, I was already here, so
Right.
getting to know everybody was just fine. Not that big of a deal. So yeah, I guess it's kind of, that's my perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been welcoming to everybody, considering the welcoming I got when I was at Surly.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the breweries thereafter, and then even here. And then even hiring the people that I've hired.
Yeah.
So
So you were at Surly, then after Surly you went to Northgate, correct?
Northgate, yep.
And then Fulton? Yeah.
Yep.
And then
here.
Okay.
Yep.
I got it.
Yeah.
Steel trap right here. Don't worry about it, folks. How about you, Britt? Coming from a totally different industry altogether, what was your experience like breaking into craft beer?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I think I'm entering at a really interesting time where folks are a lot more socially aware of, you know, the discrepancies and differences and discriminatory practices that exist, you know, across the country in general, for white folks and people of color. Those differences that exist there, I think people are waking up to them a lot more, particularly lately, post George Floyd's murder, et cetera, et cetera. So I think I'm entering at a very interesting time where the doors are a bit more open.
Yeah.
I think it was happenstance to catch Dicky on the Facebook group, you know, and it was really interpersonal. And also, like, hopefully I convinced him that I could do the job. But, you know, it ended up being quite interpersonal, I think, for the interview. But once I was in, you know, I've noticed that it ends up being a lot about who you know, which is not different from past industries that I've been in healthcare or in, like, corporate healthcare. It's no different there. All of my jobs have come from knowing someone. This is kind of the first time I applied cold to something, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting in that way. But now that I'm in here, I'm realizing it's not really too different. It's about who you know. And the fact that the brewing industry is so homogenous, I think that reinforces itself in a lot of ways. And again, I'm brand new, so like frankly, what do I know? And for listeners who don't know, I'm a delightfully black woman. But, like, I'm new here, so what do I really know? I just know I don't see a ton of folks who look like me. I have to shout out, Bree and Shantae and the other folks that I've met, other black women I've met in the industry. They've been super supportive and really kind to me. And in general, I haven't really encountered folks being unkind. I mean, there's microaggressions. That's just what it's like to be a black woman in America. I mean, I think it was Sean's second week, and he was kind of shadowing me a little bit. And I don't think Dicky knows this, but a delivery came, and I opened the garage, and I had to sign for it, and the guy goes, "Are you the secretary?" And I was like, "Nah, bro."
Lovely.
But,
Lovely.
Sean was like, "Wow." And I was like, "This is every day," And so I think, and that's not the industry, so to speak, that's a rando off the street. That's a delivery person. But that's just what it's like walking through the world. It's not necessarily brewing industry versus healthcare versus the rest of the world. It's just like existing. Right. So it's more about, how do you make these intentional choices about bringing folks in that maybe don't look like you? How do you hire affirmatively?
Yeah.
How do you train affirmatively? And I don't know that it's a conscious choice on Dicky's part, but he's doing an awesome job. I feel comfortable and great. But yeah, I think there's no right answer. It's just like doing things affirmatively and being mindful of your actions. Yeah. And maybe not asking folks if they're the secretary because they're a woman or black or both. Maybe that too,
Yeah. I think that there's always, anytime something is dominated by one group, it's tough to break through. And then when you do break through, it just makes it easier for the people who come after you. And that's what is exciting to me about the Minnesota craft beer scene, especially, that there are more people of color coming into these roles. And then there's that, like you mentioned, who do you know? I mean, I'd say most industries, it's like, do you know someone here? Can they put in a good word for you?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
And that network has existed for a long time for white cisgender males, but now we're getting more access if you don't fit that mold. Yeah. And I think that is really important. I know I always feel really excited when I can walk into a place and see people that are like me, look like me, have my similar experiences in all different facets of it. And that just, it's hard to really explain why it's important, but it is. Right, yeah. That just really special sense of belonging. And I love to see craft beer is about bringing people together. And so the community that's happening here, both people coming in the door to enjoy your beverages and the people here working to make sure those beverages are enjoyable, is very diverse and very welcoming and very open. How does that happen? Like, was that like a on purpose thing, or is it like Bob Ross says, a happy little accident?
I don't know if it's a happy little accident. Some of the IPAs are. I won't tell you which ones. But no, the kind of welcoming, right?
Yeah.
Is more so towards anything you drink here or eat here. Nothing's going to be offensive with like leaving a sour taste. Well, we had a sour on, but even that one didn't leave a sour taste in your mouth. It kind of, just washed away. But, even the IPAs, on the back of our Lorena can, it says it gives hop heads what they want and non-hop lovers a second chance at IPAs.
Yeah.
So across the board, you will always find something that you'll enjoy here. And if you don't, I want to sit down with you and pick your brain, because we have drastically different things all across everywhere. And if you can't find something, I want to know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. But I think for the most part, people that work here, we got one of our bartenders sitting at the bar right now on her day off, just hanging out. So
I think that speaks volumes.
I think so.
It's awesome.
I mean, that you won't catch me dead at school after. I mean, there's no way to know. So that's tremendous. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think so.
I live in St. Paul and I drink here.
What's that?
I live in St. Paul and I drink here.
There are some good breweries in St. Paul for sure.
Oh, there are, definitely.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a little discount here.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
Just a 5-finger discount is
Yes.
nice.
Yes. Yeah, I would say, looking at the tap list, there's something for everybody. And you kind of answered one of the questions I was going to ask was, the way that you have curated the selection of things for people. What was kind of like the impetus and motivation for how it looks? But, like having something for everybody is,
Yeah.
I think that kind of speaks for itself. One thing that I've always been struck with, and I think this is probably on purpose as well, but anytime I've come in, everybody working behind the bar is really interested in where am I at in my craft beer journey as far as what do I like to drink? Do I have any questions? Do I want to try something? That's not always the experience that one has when they go into craft beer. Is that kind of from the leadership of the brewery? Is that a imperative? We want people to understand what they're drinking. If they're new, make them feel welcome. Don't make them feel stupid for not knowing anything. How much of that I guess it goes back to training, but how much of the training of your staff to be willing to educate and take time with people is on purpose and kind of something that comes from the leadership?
I think it's all on purpose, as well as like Sergio and I working together to help the bartenders kind of like convey the message of like, what are some key talking points? You ask somebody, what kind of style do you like? And then you can go from there and carry the conversation on. If they answer, I like hoppy, then you know what to go to, all the red signs. If they like a lager or something light, you can point them to the top of it going like, oh, all these yellow cards. If they like dark beer, now it's like, okay, now we can get into all the other colors that are going on. But for the most part, everybody that applied and is working right now behind the bar has always either had an interest in craft beer or wanted to get in and learn more about craft beer. So just being able to be fully transparent with them. I purposely, for 2 reasons, set up my quote-unquote office at the bar. You can see my laptop. It's closed right now. But that's just, if anybody has any questions that's working behind the bar and I'm still here, like, ask me.
That's awesome.
Again, it all goes back to my people in the back. Like, if you have any question, I'm right here.
Yeah.
You might have to tap me on the shoulder. I might have earbuds in.
Yeah.
You might have to wave your arms back and forth. Give my attention. I'll talk to you. We can talk it through. We can both pour a little sample. I can walk you through what you taste, what you smell, what happens after you get done. All that kind of like everywhere around in the flavor profile. But even what goes into the beer, like, oh, what makes it a West Coast? And it's like, oh, it's this, and this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what about mole style? Like, what is that? And it's like, oh, well, it has, this and this, adds the pepper, adds the chocolate, so on and so forth. Why did you name it this? And then, whether it's an intriguing story or not, I go through the story and then I see on their face, like, could tighten that up a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you have like a personal beer style that you love to brew? Like, okay, we're always going to have this and different variations of it just because it gives my creative part of my brain kind of like free reign and gets to be really excited. Or
Right.
what styles do you like when it's like a certain season? Like, oh, I love brewing this beer. This beer is like so exciting.
Outside of Oktoberfest, which is our Oktoberfest, basically anything new. So like whether that's collabs or any new IPAs or I did a cream ale or a light Mexican lager, anything that I don't think I'm going to make again, like, let's go. That was one thing I took from Todd, where it was like talking to him after like signing on and getting going. The question with the ownership group was, should we try and see if there's money in the budget to get a pilot system? And I called him up and I'm like, hey, like, we're talking about maybe a pilot system. And he was like, how many barrels are you making? I'm like, well, it's 15. He's like, okay, I don't think you need a pilot system. Like, just make it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, like, you're out maybe $800.
Yeah.
Like, that's a keg and a half. Like, okay. Seems like you're fine. You're not making 600 barrels.
Right. Yeah.
You mess up a 600 barrel tank and you might get talked to.
It's a big deal.
Right. Yeah. Britt, what's your favorite thing to drink?
Oh, to drink? I'm an IPA girl.
To brew?
Yeah. To drink, IPAs.
Yeah.
Hate brewing IPAs. Love brewing stouts.
What? Okay. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I feel like, and I think opinions will differ. I have a buddy out there who will yell at me for this, but I feel like you can do so many complex things with a stout. There's so many things that can layer on top of like that rich, chocolatey taste. And I just feel like, I'm going to get ruined for this, but I feel like I get bored of the hops that I can afford, right? So,
okay, yeah.
Citra, Simcoe. I have all those things at home. I even have Galaxy at home, I realize. I have an Australian Galaxy at home. And I haven't used it yet, but like, I don't really care too much. I'm excited for the cacao nibs I get to add in and the peppers I get to add in and the, the oatmeal I get to add in. Do I add lactose or not? I just think I can do more complex things with stouts. I'm also bad at making IPAs, which I've realized. For some reason, I just don't make them well, so.
I haven't tried any yet, so I can't talk about them.
Yeah, because I haven't brought him in any IPAs. I'm too embarrassed. I can't give my head brewer a beer I'm not super proud of. I brought in a stout, though, that I was super proud of.
I mean, you can look at it that way, or you can look at, like, who better to give constructive criticism, you know? That's what
my ego.
Yeah. No, there's that. Yeah.
I do remember a text conversation we had where you were making something and you were kind of criticizing it yourself, and I texted you, it may be the first batch, but it's not the last batch.
That's true. And I went back and made it again, and I crushed it.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's like, when you make pancakes, the first pancake never turns out.
That's true.
That's
you're
like
right.
the canary in the coal mine. You get that first pancake out of the way,
totally.
And then they're all fluffy, delightful.
I just need to carry you both in my pocket all the time, to remind me.
Especially if you're on a different burner.
Oh,
like
yeah.
If the other one's taken up and you're like,
right.
Oh man,
yeah,
I'm on the bad one.
Damn it. Well, these are not ready for prime time. I'm looking at the tap list, and I'm seeing some heftier, bigger beers. I see a barley wine. I see an imperial stout. I see the Oktoberfest. Now that we're recording this on November 17th, we had a very unseasonably, mild week, and temperatures are dropping down. It seems like we're kind of transitioning into those kind of cold weather beers.
Yep.
Is this kind of like the majority of the seasonals, the winter seasonals that are coming out, or will there be more? How often do you switch up the seasonals? I know that you've got your mainstays, the Doña Frias, the Lorena, the El Rey. I think Big Mama's always on tap. What else?
Yep.
How often do you kind of rotate through seasonals?
It's basically, so I have Britt and Sean both fill out an inventory sheet and a sales sheet every week, just so I know what's in the cooler, what's on pallets, what's going out the door. And then it's kind of like, okay, so this is gaining traction at this point, so maybe making something similar but not like it. Start thinking about that. And then basically just like going around and like shopping for different beers at liquor stores and just going like, oh, this is really good. Like looking at the can, look it up online, see what's in it, see if I can do it. Because sometimes like, oh, it's a double decocted, whatever. And then it's like, okay, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, some of those like Cosecha, which listened to that podcast with 56, that was in the tank. I don't know if you got to try it.
I didn't get to try it. No,
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet.
It's really good.
But yeah, that one has blue agave in it.
Okay.
And that was Zach's like bring into it, like using agave, and I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be sweet. I've never used it, so cool. And then just kind of like working with that. That one might come back depending on like how it's going.
Okay.
Super Classico has been a hit.
Yeah, I just had that. That was really nice.
Yeah, that one's nice. Like even with the lime on it too. Which I don't know. I might get hate for that. Just whatever. It's a garnish.
No, people need to stop hating on people for what they like. That's just like it's
don't yucky yum. Right?
Life's too short for that. I got roasted today for we were doing a writing assignment in class, and I'm like, you want something calm, to like, so it's not just like the scratch of the pencil on paper. I'm like, how do you all feel about yacht rock? And they're like, what is that, Mr. B? You're weird. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Kenny Loggins.
Okay.
It's the only yacht rock.
I'm like, it's calm. It will just settle everybody down. Yeah, I think that, if you want to put a lime in something, put a lime in something. It's great. Yeah. Don't yuck somebody's yum. That's a good thing. Well, my glass is empty, and you've been talking up this cosecha, so I feel like now's a good time to take a break and refill. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about some maybe industry topics. There's a lot going on right now in beer. I think it's a very it's a very dicey time to own a brewery. There's a lot of things happening, both economically and with trends and things like that. So I want to, when we come back, dive into that a little bit more. And then I also want to talk about work-life balance as a brewer, especially if you have little ones. So we got more fun discussion. Don't go anywhere. I mean, if you're listening to me, you're probably in the car and you can't go anywhere. So, but yeah, this is a One Pint Stand, and we're recording on location at Doña Cervecería with Dicky and Britt.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you're enjoying a One Pint Stand. My aim is to help spread the word about craft beer. Enjoying craft beer is a passion of mine, and I love chatting about it with other people. A One Pint Stand has a goal of helping breweries tell their stories. I love to get out in and beyond Minnesota to visit breweries, beer bars, and meet other interesting beer people. If you are also into those things, you probably want to keep tabs on the show. So go ahead and follow a One Pint Stand on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We would also appreciate any and all positive reviews on Spotify and iTunes to help make it easier for other craft beer listeners to find us. If you like reading about craft beer, I started my own blog, and all of my writing can be found at aonepintstand.com. After 8 years of writing as editor-in-chief at Beer Pluma, it was time for me to start my own blog. So make sure you check out the blog for some interesting craft beer content of the written variety. I truly appreciate you listening and taking time to enjoy our stories. Now, back to the show.
Okay, we're back for the second half discussion. We've got a full glass now. I am drinking the Cosecha, which was a collaboration beer brewed with 56 Brewing.
Yeah,
correct?
with 56, yeah. Shout out Zach and Micah. They shouted me out in their podcast with me, so shout out to those guys. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Also Mike and Jules, shout out to you guys. I don't know if you guys listen to podcasts at all, but I hope you listen to this one.
Yeah. Well, what's funny today is I was walking out of school. Micah was picking up his daughter. She goes to Hopkins High School.
Oh,
and he's like, hey, how's it going? He hands me a can of the new, it's releasing tomorrow. It's a collab, Coco de Meal.
Oh, yeah.
Coco's,
I forget the full name of it.
yeah, it was a Black Brewers podcast collaboration. He handed me a can of that as I was walking to my car. I said, hey, I'm headed over to Doña to talk to Dicky and Britt. So he was excited. He said to say hi. It's so interesting, the synergy between places. And I know that beer collaborations are kind of a big deal. Do you have preferred collaboration partners? Who are some of the other players in the industry that you really kind of gravitate towards or love to swap notes with and stuff?
I guess like quite a few. Like we all hang out at beer fests and other breweries, or like Grumpy's was like a major hangout back in the day. But for the most part, just getting together, and it's like, oh yeah, I had Forgotten Star at wherever, and it's like you meet the guy and like, oh yeah, I think we met at this other beer fest, but it's all kind of foggy on the brain, so like, oh, I got to make it out there sometime, and then eventually you make it out there, and sometimes they're still there, sometimes they're not, and you drop your business card, and then you get an email, and it's like, yeah, we've been thinking about like making a beer, we got a collab scheduled in on our brew. You want to make a beer like in 2 months from now, and then you start talking and whatnot and whatever. Other times it's just like old buddies. Like I've known Micah back since the Northgate days when I was brewing there. They were in the old Northgate.
The Northeast incubator.
Yeah. The revolving door kind of brewery.
Man, Northgate has such a special place in my heart. I loved those beers.
Oh, for sure,
I love
man.
the vibe, and I really do miss that spot.
Yeah.
The Red-Headed Piper was just, that was my perfect beer. 4.5%, great flavor, like roasty, leathery, just like they'd have it on tap at Merlin's. I'd go to Merlin's all the time. Merlin's Rest in South Minneapolis, one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
And when they had that on tap, we'd go there for trivia with some other teacher buddies. We would stay out late for Red-Headed Piper and trivia. But that was cool.
Yeah, Tuck came up with some great recipes when he was the head brewer there. Yeah. And then when I took over, I hope I came up with some good recipes too. It made all of his beers as well, as well as he did.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good. How long were you at Northgate?
It's kind of a blur.
Okay.
Just because at that time it was basically me. Tuck and his wife were actually expecting by the time I got hired on. So shortly after I got trained in, he was doing paternity leave.
Okay.
So it was me and Al. I don't know if you know Al Erbach, but he was like the seller and there on after position at Northgate when I got hired on there. And then he moved over to Able.
Oh, okay.
And then got rehired at Falling Knife, and now he brews for Falling Knife.
Oh, funny.
Which, we text back and forth every once in a while, and just like how odd it is that he's back in the same building that he initially got his career at.
It's so weird for me going into Falling Knife because it's aesthetically, it's nothing like Northgate. And I love Falling Knife beers. I love the people behind the beard, but I just
for sure,
it's not a place I like to hang out because it's like, it's not what it used to be. And that's my problem, but it's just kind of weird. How long were you at Fulton?
I wasn't at Fulton more than a year.
Okay.
Before Sergio contacted me. Actually, at Northgate, I made a beer with Save the Boundary Waters.
Yeah.
And Canoe Country, it was a cream ale.
That's right, because they had the canoe.
Yep, the canoe was hanging up.
I had many pours of that.
Dude, that was a pain to hang up in the rafters.
I can only imagine. Well, you had to move all the soccer scarves.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the people with Save the Boundary Waters is actually friends with Sergio.
Okay.
And for I don't know what before talking about me was, but Sergio brought up to him like, oh yeah, we're trying to get a brick and mortar. We've been doing this contract brewing, and it was just like basically talking about. And the guy was like, oh, you looking for a brewer? Because this guy made a cream ale for Save the Boundary Waters. It was great. Like, I don't know where he's working now, but we're both, follow each other on Instagram. Here's his handle.
Yeah.
And then Sergio hit me up in my DMs. I always like to say that. He slid into my DMs.
Slide tackled my DMs.
And then we met up at Dangerous Man. And it was kind of like that whole thing of like, the number on the piece of paper, slide over the table kind of thing. It wasn't really that, but he was just like getting a feel for it and everything. And then I met with one of the other owners and just chatted it up actually in this building.
Okay.
With no heat in the middle of winter. And it was empty from this wall all the way to where Royal Foundry used to be to the other wall. It was completely empty. And I was like, okay, I can see it.
Yeah. Well, it's a great space.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how the bar is in the middle. Because I love sitting at the bar and being able to like just people watch.
Oh,
and
right.
just like it just kind of like anchors the whole space. But what struck me the first time I came in here was just how absolutely colorful it is. I mean, so many breweries are just like industrial brick wood, but there's no color.
Yeah.
And it's just like it is just for me pleasing to be in here. So yeah, I can't see when I see an open space, I can't visualize what it could be. So the fact that you could be like, oh yeah, this will work. Were you looking at other brick and mortar spots, or was this kind of like, oh no, this is the place, this is where we want it?
I think right around the time they were bringing me on, it was between this and like one other spot maybe.
Okay.
And then just like talking about this area. We're going to put a soccer field, over here. It's going to be, this length, this width. The brew house is going to go over here. And once they started talking about, kind of like the layout of where everything was going to go, it was like, okay, all right. And then just like tracing it in my head, because I love imagining. I'm a horrible person at drawing.
Yeah.
But like imagination and like figuring out where things could potentially go is like, okay, yeah, absolutely. We can make that work. And then, the gate and the cooler, and then the bar is going to be an island. Okay, yeah, for sure, yeah. I totally see it.
Yeah. Well, it's just, this is a wonderful place to enjoy a beverage. So I want to talk about, we're in, I don't feel like, while COVID is still a thing, I think that in a lot of places I go, and this is anecdotal evidence at best, but I feel like people have returned to going out to tap rooms and feeling comfortable with that. In Minnesota, we've had some pretty seismic shifts in what breweries can do as far as packaged products. A couple of years ago, year and a half ago, thereabouts, it became legal for breweries to sell 4-packs, 6-packs, different vessels of their beer. Talk to me about how those changes and just kind of the current economic climate in craft beer have affected La Doña.
I'd say it opened up a new path of revenue, for sure, for most breweries at least, especially people that solely choose to go out to a brewery versus like, let's go to the liquor store and then we'll go back home, kind of get that vibe of like, does the place have food? Do they only have beer? Is it a brew pub? Whatnot and what have you. But in regards to like more and more people coming out to here, just offering food, the welcoming atmosphere, the amount of space where, even if it is, somewhat packed in here, you always find like some kind of crevice to like tuck away into where you can, somewhat seclude yourself. There'll be noise, obviously, but not so much unless it's Saturday night that it's going to be overbearing. Saturday night being, salsa night, in the event space over there, they do lessons for salsa and then start dancing all around.
Okay.
But as far as like people coming in, I see people come in and grab like a couple 4-packs. They'll put a food order in, sit down and have a beer, and then they'll go home, and that's that. Yeah.
Okay. What brands or what beers do you package? Do you do kind of a smattering of different ones, or is it kind of like, no, these 4 are the only ones that go out, or because you have your own canning line?
Oh, right.
Do you have the freedom to kind of can whatever?
We do for the most part. I think the thing that limits us is our cooler availability.
Okay.
So, like, obviously you don't want to stack kegs on top of cans, but there are only so many pallets of whatever that can go into the cooler.
Right.
And in regards to, like, cans also being out in liquor stores, you being a smaller craft brewery, you only get so much, like, rail space for most of your SKUs to go out there.
Yeah.
So some of it, there's my wife and kid over there.
Ah, there you go.
They just walked in. I know they're trying not to interrupt right now, but we're talking about it.
Let's get the kiddo over here, get her microphone. Let's hear her thoughts on the Barbie movie. There we go. Let's go.
Actually, I think about a year ago, they were seeing like Twitch streams on YouTube.
Oh.
And with their iPad, they set it up. They're like, "Dad, we're gonna do like a little stream, and then, maybe we can post it."
That's so awesome.
Of course, that's not their voice, but
yeah.
I just had to differentiate from mine.
Yeah. A number of years ago, I don't know how long it was, but Steve Finney, his two kids are hilarious. He did a YouTube video. This is probably because they were little, like maybe, I don't know. Now they're like almost ready to graduate high school.
Oh,
but
geez.
like they had like 5 different things of ice cream out, and they were like taste testing and commenting. And the younger one is just a ham about it. He's making all these comments, and the older one was more like serious about it. He's like, settle down. It was really funny. I got to find that and watch that again.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to 4-packs.
Yeah.
We do have our mainstays. They're 3 year-rounds. They're all drastically different. We have Doña Fria, our Mexican lager.
Sensational beer.
Thank you.
Absolutely fabulous beer.
Thank you very much.
I love that beer.
Thank you. I taste it every day, and every day it's just like, I hope it turns out. Hope it stays the same.
That's my rule. When I come in here, I have to have one, no matter what else I'm having. It's kind of like what I set my palate to. It's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that one, we have Lorena, which is our West Coast IPA with Simcoe and Mosaic hops, and then we have our Big Mama Blonde Ale, and Big Mama is actually my wife's nickname, Big Mama.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the back of the can it says, an ode to the brewer's wife.
Okay.
And then the other ones are seasonal, Oktoberfest, obviously coming out around the Oktoberfest season. And Mulatto, which, when it starts to get cold outside, the little spice stout, comes out. And then we've kind of been trying to figure out a summer seasonal, and it's kind of been all over the place. We did one with Urban Growler called Golden Ticket.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that was with the purple heirloom corn from Mexico, from Hacienda, which turned out phenomenal as well. And then we did another one again with 56 Cosecha. We both canned it.
Yeah, I'm drinking that right now. It's very delicious.
Same.
Now, you said that there was blue agave in here. Me being the brewing novice that I am, I'm assuming that was just for like a different type of fermentable, or is it more? Was there a lot of sugar that got consumed by the yeast from that, or was that more? I guess why blue agave in the beer?
I think blue agave, just because we were both going for a different Mexican lager.
Okay.
Especially one that we already have on tap right now. And Zach brought it up to me. He was mentioning blue agave. I can't remember if he actually used it before or not, but he had mentioned it just because it has honey-like qualities to it. So, like, Indeed's Mexican honey has that kind of, like, honey-esque-ness to it. And I think it lends to the body of the beer. So when we added it in the whirlpool. So it did add some sugar, obviously, to it.
Yep.
Fermentable-wise, I didn't see necessarily a giant shift.
Okay.
So in our 15 barrels, which we actually filled to 17, just so finishing out we can get a true 15, we added, I think, 25 kilograms. So it may have added like half a Play-Doh or so.
Okay.
But I wasn't really counting on that one to, push the sugar amount over the edge or anything like that. But it definitely shines through in the flavor.
Yeah, it's good. I like it that it's just like, there's a little bit more sweetness. Than like the Doña Fria. And I was like, I guess sometimes I worry if there's like an added thing that's put in so late in the process that it's going to make it too sweet. But I think it's very balanced in this setting. So nice job. Very good.
Yeah.
So I think this make a really good summer seasonal. So this is my vote. I vote for this one.
I think we're going to make it again. I think I was texting Zach probably like a month ago. Just like, hey, we're just doing really good. We're going to make it again. You want to make it again at some point in time? Like, let's come up with some dates and figure it out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's awesome.
If they wanted to release it, obviously, at the same time that we did,
Yeah, because you can't just brew it like at one place and both sell it, right? You have to brew it here and then brew it there, and they have to be separate because of like whatever weird distribution laws. Like
sometimes,
okay.
Some other times, some breweries do it where it's like they don't have the capacity or canning purposes to like allow for a double release to come out, and so you'll have like the co-branding, and then it'll be pushed out just promoting both breweries. Okay, but. For us, luckily we do have the capability of doing such things. But we actually did one that didn't allow for us to make it as well. And that one was with Modest, actually, when they came out with La Crispy. That one had, they threw in blue agave as well into that one, with like a few other things too. But it was lighter in color, a little bit lighter on the hop profile. I would say it was like closer to Super Classico than anything. Okay. Yeah. But they released it. We're still trying to like figure it out. We've both been super busy. They have, I think they did a beer with Dudesy podcast, which is Will Sasso. Yeah. So they got, no time at all to like try and come over here.
Got crazy stuff going on over there. Well, they just opened up their new event space.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah, they're always busy. What has been, so you talked about kind of what you put into cans. You said it's basically a new kind of like revenue stream. do you find you like looking back now that it's been a while since you've been able to do that? You know, I thought when COVID happened that they should have just passed that law right then.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, because I think that screwed a lot of places. I guess better late than never, but, you know, thinking about this and comparing the Minnesota beer scene to other places where, like, when I travel in the summer, I always go somewhere and they're like, tell me about Minnesota. Like, I'm like, well, here's the funny thing. It just became legal to sell beer out of,
right.
Like, they're like, wait, what? So it's such an odd thing. How is it going to, I have to imagine, given the economic climate we're in with the cost of goods skyrocketing, I know that I've heard, like, everything is more expensive.
Yeah.
A lot of breweries I've noticed in the last, like, kind of like sneakily, I mean, I remember not that long ago when, like, the going price of a pint, $5-6. You know, maybe if it was like a double IPA or a big stout, it was $7.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, you're lucky to find $7.
Yeah.
$8 is starting to kind of be the norm. And if you find something for $6, that's it's like a unicorn.
Yeah. What's wrong with it?
You're right, exactly. How long has this keg been on there? Do you worry that craft beer is pricing people out?
I mean, maybe. It's tough to say. Just coming from the person that, like, dictates basically the wholesale price here. I try to make the 4-packs that once they hit the liquor store shelves, the liquor store price is best suited for, you know, everybody.
Yeah.
Whether that's somebody criticizing it for this beer's really good, why is it so cheap, to people going, this beer's really good, like, thanks for having an affordable price. Like, I would rather take the latter every day of the week.
Yeah.
Probably just because, you know, the person who's saying it's cheap is probably buying 2. So, you know, hey, great.
Yeah.
But it's tough to say just because with the market going in the route that it's going, everybody's adding more and more, or like this is a, you know, triple whatever, or, you know, 10.5 or 11% something, or, you know, they're trying to stand out from other people.
Yeah.
So, like, the marketing behind it is kind of like, oh, yeah, like, I really got to try this because it might not be around again. And it seems intriguing because it has, you know, whatever in it. Versus, like, it's a Mexican lager. I don't know. Like, usually it's $10 at the liquor store. Like,
Yeah.
try it out. If you don't like it, like, the info emails on the back, like, let us know.
Well, and so this brings up an interesting point. I mean, the marketing versus quality. I'm worried, you know, eventually people are going to think that craft beer has to be everything in the kitchen sink. Lactose,
Right,
9 different ice cream flavors.
Out of a slushy machine.
Out of a slushy machine that you have to huff. I don't know. It's where. At what point does it start to just get too ridiculous when we have to kind of rein it in? Because I think at a certain point, this might sound like hyperbole, but we're gonna, it's gonna kill it. The industry's gonna kill itself by, like, people starting to, like, expect craziness all the time, and the beer styles that got us here, that got us away from the evil empire of Budweiser, are going to, like, be the end, because people are going to forget, you know, when amber ales, brown ales, all those become boring, and go away. You're going to lose the old school craft beer drinkers who get fed up when you walk in and there's, a slushy, sour, thing, abomination. I had to say it. Is beer-flavored beer in danger?
I think it's coming back. When I believe I was getting going with Doña Fria, and we were either just going into cans or just in cans, and Fair State had taken away their Vienna Lager out of cans.
Oh, I
because it
remember
wasn't
that.
selling. Yeah.
Yeah, that really pissed me off. I'm like, God damn it.
And I remember either texting or messaging Nico and just going like, what is going on, man? Like, really? And he's like, it's not selling. It's like, sorry, like, it's phenomenal beer, but it was one of those, at that time, it was a Brewers beer.
Yep.
Much like that English Mild or Dunkel or, those low ABV, like, very, like, intricate without being intricate beers.
Right.
Where Brewers could be like, it's so clean and we can pick out, it's one that we like thinking about. Otherwise, most of us are drinking like hams or, what have you.
Right.
It's the last thing we want to think about. We know what we're getting.
Well, you want the beer to be secondary. You want to have the conversation and
exactly.
Enjoy the company.
At that point, yeah. The last thing we want to do is like, oh, yeah, it's a little diacetyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in regards to that, I would say we're entering in on this evolutionary period where the consumer is finally at the point where I would say most people in the industry are, where it's not necessarily about how hoppy or how crazy or, how many different barrels a beer sat in.
Yeah.
To be this huge deal. There will always be those breweries that are going to, venture out and be like, well, we got these Woodford and then we transferred it on to whatever, and then whatever, or we blended these 3 barrels into one, and I don't know. There's always going to be those, and then there's going to be those other spots where people know, and they know they can trust that there's not going to be. There's going to be at least 3 or 4 things that aren't going to be insane.
Yeah.
There's going to be those 3 or 4 like us here, like with the Doña Fria. It's always going to be here.
Yeah.
So no matter what, even if I do some of my spicy beers or sour fruited beers or, even, with the barrel-aged beers, like putting them in ex-bourbon, mezcal finished barrels, like that lended a crazy flavor to it. It was awesome. I wasn't expecting it, but, in my mind, like, that was kind of crazy. And even with Enmilada, where I add smoked serrano peppers and cacao powder to emphasize that chocolate, like, in my mind, I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the stout because that original stout is also really good.
Yeah.
But adding those few extra things to it further enhances it. Now it's kind of like this, traditional Mexican-esque dish where it kind of reminds some of the people that come in here, like, this tastes exactly kind of like what I used to eat.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a give and take, really. And as long as most people are, kind of true to where they stand in the brewing industry,
Yeah.
I think the consumer that genuinely revisits or frequents that place, they will continue to tell more and more people or their family that's out of town, like, we got to go here.
Yeah.
Like, I know you like wine, or I know you don't like beer, or I know you whatever. We'll find something, I know it, at this place. And so you can find that at plenty of different breweries around. And most people are posting up their food truck And I know that's a big draw is, are they going to have food? Or will there be parking? And it's getting harder and harder to like please the everyday person, but in regards to most things, I think most people, now that we can sell 4-packs out of the tap room, like most people are trying to make that work. And if that draws more people in, or it gets people drinking their beer from the liquor store and eventually coming in, like that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think for a lot of people before it was an option to sell cans out the door. A lot of people are like, well, you know, cans are just marketing, just trying to get people out there. And it's like, that seems to be like a very expensive way to market. I don't know. I mean,
if that's what you're spending it on, labels are not cheap.
Right. Yeah. So, talk to me about, you know, when you think about, obviously, you know, your family just walked in. What is it like to be a brewer? I know that you're part of the ownership here. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you juggle that? How do you juggle brewing? It's not like a regular 9 to 5 when you're overseeing all of the things that you oversee here.
Right, yeah.
What are some of the challenges of finding that work-life balance between, you know, doing your best for the brewery and being the best dad, and being the best husband?
Definitely wouldn't say I'm the best dad or the best husband. I try. And I think in regards to Britt, who was sitting down with us, asking, if you're unsure, ask. And so trying to remind myself, like, you know, you deal with kids, like,
Yeah.
you know, just ask.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to get mad. If I get mad, like, you know, here's this, or what I promise, you know, this, or whatever. And it's just like trying to remind yourself, like, to live up to the standard that you want to see out in the world is definitely key. And so the balance between the two, it's kind of different because I'm kind of always here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. You know, there's always something that needs to happen, and unfortunately, you know, I'm not going to ask Britt or Sean, who, you know, aren't part owners in the company, to, you know, this and this is happening. So, you know, why don't you know, can you go in for like 2 hours on a Sunday morning at 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm the boss. I got to, you know, you lead by example, you know. So the balance with having a family is, you know, trying to do the same thing. Like with my wife especially, like, you know, if I'm not doing something, or if I'm not, you know, whatever it is, you got to let me know. And she's more than happy to let me know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's a you know, that's a good thing as a life partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love her for it. And being somebody who's so like intro focused, with, you know, planning the next step, like having somebody who can like tell it to me straight is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I fully enjoy it. So it's great. And then trying to raise a child together, it's understanding that if something were to happen at all, I can always shift my day around.
Yep.
You know, I don't have to, you know, brew from this time to this time because we are smaller.
Right.
I can brew at night.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever it is. You know, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But being able to have that flexibility and then also like translate that to my staff, saying like, hey, look, we'll figure it out. Like, if you got to stay home, you got to stay home.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're sick, you need a mental day, you need to go because one of your family members, you know, whatever it is.
Yep.
All you got, just let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out, and we'll go from there. Right.
I think that and you're touching on a mental health part of it.
Absolutely.
Nobody's good to anybody else if they're not good for themselves.
Yeah.
And so we on the last podcast we talked a lot about that with the kind of pressure, the social pressures and the job pressures of being around alcohol all the time. How that can be very challenging, and I think that just this industry can be very callous and draining because at the end of the day, you are, you have to sell more, you have to make more. The profit margins are razor thin, and if you're not giving 110%, then depending on your size, you might be losing, and that's really hard.
Yeah.
But I think that it's refreshing to hear you say, these things are important, and you are cognizant of those things, of making sure that people are taking care of themselves.
Absolutely.
Just another reason to love this place. That's the mentality, because I don't think that is the mentality in the majority of places. So
it's hard to say.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to do is be on your podcast and start bashing other breweries or whatever. But everybody's out there fighting for the same thing.
Yep.
And whether their focus is on sales or their focus is on getting people in, or their focus is on distribution or what have you, it's kind of all dependent on your size. So in regards to continuing to have that mental health and being able to withdraw yourself from here or from your work and go home and be present in the moment, I don't think necessarily anybody who is part of an ownership can actually fully do that.
Yeah.
Because it's always on your brain. It's
right.
It's one of those things that's just I don't know if we said it off mic or anything, but it is, I try another beer and it's just oh, this is interesting. What's in this one?
Yeah.
And then it just gets the wheels going, and then next thing I know, it's I'm not there. I'm thinking about how could I do this beer differently?
Yeah.
And then snap back into it, okay, I'm here. And luckily with my kiddo, we play video games. They love to play Roblox.
Oh yeah.
So I have my own Roblox account. We've been hammering that stuff out. A little bit into Fortnite, not too much.
Okay.
I don't think they really enjoyed it all that much because there wasn't different games you could play.
All right.
But then Minecraft is huge too, because that's all creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before this year, I was at the junior high for the last 20 years. Minecraft was everywhere. Because it's just that's all they're doing on their iPads. I'm you guys, I know nouns and verbs can't compete with Minecraft, but can we put our iPads away for just a second?
Yeah, right.
This is kind of funny. Well, I really applaud you for that. I think that it's very, like you said, when you're the owner of something, you can't turn it off. The last couple spring breaks I've gone with Jeff and Aaron Ziert from Lupulin, and Jeff always has his laptop. He's always, because he has to, and I think that's hard. That's hard on when it comes to trying to be present in the moment and things like that. But it is the nature of the beast, and I think that it sounds like you are doing a more than admirable job of juggling all those responsibilities, and that's a lot.
Yeah,
it's absolutely a lot. But also that understanding of the importance of mental health. It's very refreshing and positive to hear you talk about that and prioritize that. So I think that more of those conversations in the industry need to be had. I think that there's people need to understand that if people are if everybody working at the brewery from the owner down to the brand ambassador who's doing the sampling at Stinson, for 2 hours, is refreshed. That reflects better on the brand. That reflects better on everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's good. Well, anything else you want to plug? As we're entering winter, people coming in. Now I noticed there's like a new apartment building.
You noticed?
Yeah, it's like almost turned into where I thought the soccer field would be. Like, oh no, there's a building there. Keep going. When is that going to be done? What's going on with that? Has that been a positive? Has it been a little challenging?
Quite challenging.
Okay, yeah. Where's the soccer going to be?
Actually, right now, there's a giant cutout of where our patio and soccer field is going to be just right behind you.
Okay. All right.
So it is coming back.
Okay, good.
We unfortunately have had to wait on certain things to get done next door before we can get our hands on it.
Sure.
And unfortunately, with most construction, they're behind.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for us, they are drastically behind. Yeah, so...
Oh, that's no fun.
To be fair, the people in charge of everything, it's their first development in Minneapolis proper.
Okay.
So different, zoning laws or whatever. I have these emails in my next door neighbor folder in my email. I try to understand most of it, but if I go too far into that, I lose track of how to brew, so I focus more on brewing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I speak for many people that say, yes, keep doing that. Don't worry. Yeah.
But yeah, it's, at this rate, we will for sure have it by next summer, hopefully next spring. And I only say that just because I don't know how construction would go in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So.
Who knows? Well, if you're listening to this and you have not been to La Doña yet, you need to put it on your calendar. Get in here. So when does the barrel aged version of Prince Namor come on?
So
that's usually like a January, February thing, or does it kind of rotate?
So the barley wine barrel aged usually comes out right around our anniversary, which was last month.
Oh, okay.
But next to the cans that are stacked up, you can see my empty barrel racks.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Barrel prices have gone through the roof.
Okay. Just another crazy thing to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so in regards to, every year being able to get barrels in at a certain price and then let beer sit in the barrels for 9 months and then taking it out, bottling, all that fun stuff. It just wasn't a financial endeavor that necessarily fitted, especially over COVID or even coming out of COVID. And so we've just kind of been relying on, doing other fun and different assorted things around. And, usually we have a spicy beer on tap, so
yeah,
we get crazy around here.
Yeah. So if you haven't made it in, come on in, give their beers a try. Keep an eye out for their beers on the liquor store shelves. I said it earlier. I know you're busy. I know, especially today.
With the brew house.
Was a little wild. Thank you so much for taking time. I've looked forward to this conversation for a while. So
yeah, man.
I'm glad we could finally sit down and make it happen. So
dude, same, yeah.
Really appreciate you. So this has been another on-location episode of a one-pint stand here at La Doña Cervecería. Cheers.
And with that, we are at the close of another episode of a One Pint Stand. Dicky's such a wonderful member of our Minnesota craft beer community. He has immense skills when it comes to brewing and is passing on so much of his knowledge to Britt, who is as intelligent as they come in her own right. And it's just a very dynamic duo that's back there in the brew house. And talking to them was very exciting to see the synergy that exists between them and just kind of the wonderful mutual respect they have for each other. You couldn't see it, but as Britt was talking, saying a lot of great things about Dicky, the look on his face was priceless. Dicky is very humble, and his smile was as wide as it could possibly be. So I really enjoyed seeing the dynamic that exists between the two of them. It's a lot of energy. There is a lot of creative respect between the two of them, and it's a very nurturing vibe so that Britt will be able to grow and learn, and I think Dicky will in turn become inspired by Britt's energy and ideas, and it's really cool to see that. I think any industry where there is a creative element to it, that energy is really fun to see and be a part of. La Doña is providing a sensational craft beer experience to many, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about it. La Doña is an absolute treasure, and I encourage you to make your way there if you haven't already. One thing I don't know if we really talked about much, but La Doña is a Latino-owned brewery. And in Minnesota, that's a pretty magnificent thing, not very common. So I think that's initially what drew me there. And since my first visit many years ago, I've really enjoyed the quality of their beers and the quality of the experience I have when I walk in and see a lot of diversity enjoying beer and coming together. It's a wonderful community. So if you haven't been, again, make your way there. If you have been, hopefully this made you thirsty and you're going to make a return visit. Our next episode is going to focus on bourbon, where I'm going out to Shorewood Liquors to chat with Craig about bourbon. And that will be fun, just in time for the holidays. So I appreciate you taking time to listen. And until next time, this has been a One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast where the pants stay on, but the caps come off. Cheers.
Everything in the kitchen sink. Lactose, 9 different ice cream flavors.
Out of a slushy machine.
Out of a slushy machine that you have to huff. I don't know.